What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Brandon Hanna Live. Yes, we are running late, but we are finally here to talk about, the Oscars coming up next Sunday. And I have two amazing panelists slash host slash movie experts, as I'm going to call them, with me. We have first, starting off to my immediate left, your right. You might know him as the Nerdy Chicano, I believe. You might know him also from something called the Nerdcore, and an all-around great guy and filmmaker himself. So I think he knows a thing or two. It is Raul Alejandro Mendoza. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Brandon. I don't know shit, bro. I just got a lesson in focus speaking right now from Dwayne. I think Dwayne's the one you should be giving that one to.
I don't think you give yourself enough credit there, but it's fine. Hey, sometimes we all have cameras out of focus. Believe me, if you go back and watch some Schmodown matches from a few seasons ago when I was behind the camera, a couple shots out of focus, 100% my fault, but don't tell Christian. Anyways, we also have another host with us here today. You know him, you love him, you've seen him on this channel many times before on the periodic table, but now he's joining us for Brandon Hanna Live. It is the one, the only Dwayne Burke.
Hello. Oh, my hands are out of frame.
Yes, we're all getting adjusted to the narrow framing, but I kind of like the style for this show. There's something about it. I think it captures the raw energy of this show, because do I ever come prepared? Absolutely not. But like Raul said, Dwayne knows his stuff, all right? He is the creator over at Burke Made, does a lot of streaming over on Twitch, I believe, also on the YouTubes. So go and check his stuff out if you get the chance as well. But for right now, he's here joining me and Raul to talk about the Oscars, the upcoming, I believe it's the 93rd Academy Awards. And this has kind of been a crazy year for movies. This is not a conventional Oscars. I think if COVID-19 didn't hit, the landscape of movies being nominated this year would be significantly different than what we ended up with. But nonetheless, we've ended up with movies. We have a list of nominations, and we're going to talk about it. Raul, I know you are very prepared to give your thoughts on a lot of these movies. You're kind of watching through the list of Oscar Best Picture nominations as of late.
Yeah, I finished all the Best Picture because they're all mostly available for streaming. And but the only category I actually care to watch all the all the nominees for are Best International Feature Film, because I am a simp for international cinema.
Color me surprised.
Color me surprised, right? Yep. Love my white folk. European films. Yeah. If it ain't Russian, I don't want to hear about it.
What about you, Dwayne? Do you think you're well versed in some of these categories? Have you been trying to keep up with some of the Best Picture nominations at list over the course of the year?
I think this year more so than others, I've actually been able to watch a good majority of the films that are and performances that are nominated, because this year we have access to all of them pretty much. In other years, like, it'll the most nominated film will have been this one film that was shown in one theater in LA and one theater in New York, and it's like, well, nobody actually got to watch it. So like, but this year, things that were on streaming services, if they had originally planned a theatrical release, they're eligible for an Oscar. So a lot of things that we normally wouldn't have had access to, we actually got to watch. So more so than most years, I'm more qualified to talk about the Oscars.
Yeah, that's a really good point about, a lot of these movies are available on streaming, readily available at the very least to rent. Because, like sometimes we get a lot of Oscar pushes late in the year for movies that are still in theaters and aren't necessarily super readily available for a lot of people or come out in limited markets. So it's at least been an Oscar that has allowed people to I guess watch more movies, and I wonder how that is going to affect the landscape, because a lot of years we always see like people who are more casual fans of movies kind of complain that the Oscars don't cater to the movies that they watch. They're like, what's this movie winning Best Picture for? I've never seen it. Like, it's what? It can't win Best Picture. How can it be the best? Didn't even know it existed. Maybe now with these movies being more available over streaming, everyone kind of at home streaming movies, maybe we'll get less of that. I don't know. Raul, do you think that there's still going to be people who kind of cry out and say, what, Joker should have won best of everything? Come on, I saw Joker 23 times in theaters and I never even heard of this Parasite movie. Do you think we're going to get some of that, or do you think it's going to be a little more tempered now that all these movies are available from your living room?
No, I think we'll always have that. I think we'll always have the who should. I mean, because we were already having these discussions even before nominations came out. Like, you know, I think I was having certain discussions with a couple of friends when the shortlist came out already. And we were like, yo, like, you know, especially with my friends who had seen a lot of the international, entries with me. We were like, yo, like, where the hell is this? Where's this? Where's this? And where's that? You know, like, we were already having those conversations. So I don't think that I think that no matter the accessibility of the movies, even though this year has been really accessible for films that are nominated, I think we're always going to have that sort of backlash. But, you know, also the Academy has given us many reasons before to give them backlash.
That is true. I recently saw an article on Twitter today about The Invisible Man not getting nominated for anything and not showing any love to the horror genre at all. That was honestly, I think I was on JTE Movie Thinks doing a top 10 of the year. I think I had that as my number one. Because I'm just like a huge horror geek and I love that movie so much, and I'm a little bit biased because it was one of my like handful of theatrical experiences last year. So me personally, I'm a little disappointed that movie didn't get any nominations. However, I'm not gonna like throw a fit about it, but you know, and there's been other movies that are much more worthy of complaining about them not getting the appreciation that they deserve at the Academy Awards for a variety of very topical reasons. So, do you think, Raul, going back to you, and then we'll go over to Dwayne, do you think that the nominations this year have done a pretty good job of diversifying and giving love to the movies that deserve it, or do you think it is a little skewed in some areas, which is what we normally tend to see?
Oh, it's skewed. You know, it's like, you know, they've done a pretty good job at picking some diverse films and stuff, and I think that comes a lot with the new rules that were implicated correct me if I'm wrong, they went into effect for this year's Oscars, right? Or will it be for next year's? I don't remember. But I think that they obviously put a lot of good work in there. But I also think that we kind of forget about the fact that these awards have 10 slots available at them, and they never, ever, ever use those actual full 10. You know, there's a lot of other actors and actresses that you know deserve to be included there. Like, I mean, we'll talk about it later, right? Bensley, I can't remember his name. Played Malcolm in One Night in Miami. Yeah. Fucking fantastic, and he's not nominated. And there's just, you know, it always comes down to the way that the Academy uses these slots. But I think that this year is fine, you know, but I think it's also kind of a lot of safe choices.
Sure, yeah, and we definitely tend to see, I think, recently too, like safe choices kind of creep their way up to the, I don't know, Green Book status, if you will, of the Academy Awards. But Dwayne, I want to throw it over to you next. Do you agree with a lot of Raul's points? Do you feel, I'm going to ask you specifically, do you feel that they should use every single slot available for Best Picture to make sure that as many movies get the recognition that they deserve as possible? Or do you think it's okay to leave some slots open sometimes if certain movies might not, I don't know, like they just, the Academy doesn't feel that they live up to the Best Picture moniker?
Yeah, so some of the answer to that question comes down to transparency within the Academy. So I think we understand it a little bit better than most people about how voting for the Oscars works. and how it's not just like, hey, the Academy picked these 5 movies. You know, that's not how Oscar voting works. When you understand the system and how it works, if we got a little bit of transparency and we saw like, hey, you know, this movie didn't get nominated because it missed the, you know, required number of votes, like minimum number of votes in order to secure a spot by 10 votes, right? If we could see those numbers, then I think people would be a little bit less upset, because it wouldn't just be like, oh, nobody in the Academy cared about that movie. And then also, we also do know that a lot of this is a little bit of a politic game. You know, movies that come out in the beginning of the year are always going to be forgotten at the end of the year, and they're going to miss out on nominations. Like, we know this. And that is where it comes to the studios and the producers deciding, like, hey, if I think my movie is good enough, put in the work to make sure it gets nominated. You know, do what you got to, send out the screeners, make sure it's in front of people when voting season comes around. And movies like, you know, Invisible Man, they didn't do that. Yeah. And it shows when the nominations come around, because when the movie came out, everyone was talking about it. So we know the movie's quality. It's just people forgot about it. It happens. There's thousands of movies that come out every year. We can't remember them all. And like, I don't envy being an Academy voter, but while they do have their faults and their problems with who gets nominated, that's more based on the makeup of the Academy, not them not using the slots correctly. Because I don't think you should mandate, hey, if you got 10 slots, you got to fill 10 slots. Because, you know, what if with this past year, we could have seen like Bad Boys for Life end up in the Best Picture nomination. But that's what I'm saying. If you mandate all 10 slots have to get filled, that's what's going to happen. Is a year we're going to have a movie that has no business even being nominated for Best Picture is going to be nominated just because they have to fill all 10 slots. Should they do better at filling them if you have movies of quality? Yes, but that's where you have that balance of knowing how the voting works and understanding that just because a movie didn't get nominated doesn't mean people didn't vote for it.
100%. And like, going back to what you said kind of about Invisible Man, I feel like The Five Bloods, like that's the exact same thing that happened with that one. Netflix wasn't backing it. It came out earlier within the year. And that's what happens. If you don't keep it fresh in people's minds constantly, it's just not going to get the same recognition, because people are going to vote for it, but maybe not in the same volume as, you know, if they forgot about it throughout the year. Unfortunately, it's just, we had so many films to juggle on so many different streaming services. When you choose to put all of your eggs into like something like Mank and not give a little bit of love to something like The Five Bloods, or I'm thinking of Ending Things, because, you know, Mank is kind of that easy Oscar type of film. Like, it really is easy for Gary Oldman to get a nomination for Best Actor in the same year that Delroy Lindo gave like the best performance of the year, basically. It's just a travesty to have him nominated over that. But that's because they were selling it. This is a film. It's Hollywood. It's a period piece. We're talking about a screenwriter. It's the perfect formula for Oscar voters to eat it up. And that's exactly what we get. But something that's more interesting, like Invisible Man, The Five Bloods, if you don't push that at the end of the year, it's just not going to get the votes.
Yeah, everyone, and welcome Sabrina Ramirez to the show.
Hey.
Give a formal introduction. You might know her from First Cut, the Meaning Of podcast, or SCN Live. And her passion for the Oscars is known throughout all the lands of Silver Lake. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I sobered up a little bit because I just did cocktails and casting. So I drank some water, ate some pistachios, and now I am here to talk about the Oscars. Very excited. I'll probably be doing like a live stream on my channel during the Oscars, doing that live watch along, because this is something that I care about every single year, even though, you know, it's disappointing. It's like, there's like a love-hate thing with the Oscars. Obviously, I love to celebrate film. I think this year and last year, they did a lot of really great things. but there's still much more to celebrate. I think there was a lot better films than kind of what we see in this catalog, but you know, it is what it is. It's fascinating because I keep up with awards all throughout the season, not just the Oscars. So kind of predicting who's going to win each category this year, nuts. It's like basically anyone's game in a few categories.
Yeah, definitely. Now that you're here, I do want to ask you specifically to kind of go off of Raul and Dwayne's points. How do you feel about the marketing aspect of the Oscars? Do you think that it's totally fair that if a movie doesn't have the right marketing push and it doesn't make the list, do you think that's right? Or do you think that Academy voters should take it upon themselves to be more aware of what movies are eligible, which movies are out there?
Well, something that we see firsthand is, you know, you get sent screeners. Everybody who's a voter gets sent 1,000 screeners. It ends up collecting. And if you don't just keep pushing, it's something that we see even with people who review films like I do. When we go to a press screening or something like that, they completely like butter us up. They give us drinks, food, everything. And then they have us watch a movie. Yes, of course, our experience is going to be elevated 100% by the experience that they give us. So with something like that, they send all these packages with drinks and foods and all that, especially now since we're at home. So something like that's going to stand out. It Mank, like whatever press package they had, obviously I didn't get it. I'm not an Academy voter. I wish I was, maybe one day. But I bet it was like stellar. Netflix did that with The Irishman last year. They did it with Mank this year. They keep choosing these safe choices because, of course, it's Fincher. Fincher is an incredible director. I just feel like this was a lower tier in all of his filmmaking. Like I feel like this was like bottom 3 in the category. But again, they eat this kind of stuff up, and that's why we have stuff like Trial of Chicago 7, Mank, stuff like that nominated in places where it definitely shouldn't have been if we're talking about the best of the year. But it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe the Invisible Man kit was just invisible, so everyone just missed it.
I got an Invisible Man press kit, but I'm not a voter, so I would have nominated, or I would have personally chose Invisible Man as one of the best films of the year. But I'm not a voter. Again.
Hashtag makes Sabrina an Academy voter.
I will say that I do think that the Oscars and the Academy in the next year are going to be pivotal in saving theaters.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen over the past month and a half, there's not a whole lot of upside for studios to put their movies back in theaters. Like with the success of a lot of the bigger releases that have happened on streaming services, you know, we could see studios trying to make the push to just not release their movies in theaters anymore and not have to cut theaters in on that. But if the Oscars continue to, or if they go back to the more conventional eligibility rules, that's going to force movies to go back to theaters. So that could be like, I don't want to give the Academy too much credit because they still do have a lot of problems, but like, if we're looking to save, if we're looking to save the theater experience, they are going to be one of the people leading the or organizations leading the charge, because they have a lot of power in that respect. Like, I think every filmmaker is like, I want an Oscar, and if they don't, I think they're a little deluded. Like I think they're lying to themselves, because I think everyone wants the to be told in their profession that they are the best at what they do. And in order to do that, you're going to have to, get movies in theaters.
It is also interesting too, because like Netflix and Amazon, obviously, like they're buying out theaters. Netflix owns like one in LA and one in New York. And that's kind of how they're showing. That's how they used to get the eligibility from stuff like, what did I see? I don't know. They were showing like Irishman, things like that. I do think that's 100% important for that. I think they are going to go back to the old eligibility stuff. Like they were so adamant about it before with streaming movies, where they were like, nah, you got to play in a theater, even if it's a limited run. So I could see them 100% once it's safe, like probably by next year, going back to all of that. But it is really important.
Do you think that this is going to be a necessary move by the Academy to put movies back into theaters, because right now there are theaters open in a limited capacity and people are going to the movies, and we actually see fairly good numbers right now for movies that are available both in the theater and on streaming. I think we just recently had Nobody come out on streaming this past week, and it only had a 10% drop in its theater revenue from the week before, despite it moving to digital. So I don't know if that is any kind of indication that movies being on digital will not hinder the theater going experience. But it's kind of still hard to say with movies being out like in a more limited capacity, limited seating in theaters, like in limited show times, when things go back to more so normal, when we can pack theaters again. And I'll leave this open to anybody on the panel. Do you think that this is something that we kind of have to rely on the Academy to do, to kind of go back to the old eligibility rules and force movies back into theaters? Or do you think like the industry, like I don't know, the consumers themselves will fix that issue because people in general just love the theater going experience?
I think that we kind of have to rely on both, because people do miss the theater experience, but there's also when the novelty of being able to go back to the theater wears off. Because I think a lot of people are just excited that, hey, we can go outside right now. Like, Brandon, you're from a place where winter exists. Sabrina, you as well. Like, you remember that like first day of spring, like, and you finally get to go back outside, and then like a month later, you're like, man, I'm tired of it being hot. Like, you're ready for fall again. And I think that excitement of being able to go back to the theater in, a month, two, and I mean, maybe even as much as 6 months from now, we're going to start seeing the drop off. And I think that, oh damn, I just had a thought in it. Oh, okay. I think that something is going to happen between like the academies and the studios, and someone is going to have to call someone's bluff. And we may see a year where something like John Cena in Fast 9 gets nominated for something because of like Netflix or Amazon are going to not want to put their movies in theaters, and it's going to be a movie that everyone is going to be like, this needs to be nominated for awards, and this, the studio will dig in their heels, and the Oscars will dig in and the Academy will dig in their heels, and we're going to see who comes out on top. And I think that we're going to see something crazy like that happen, where the Academy is going to be like, look, if you ain't put it in theaters, that's your fault. So, this once in a generation performance isn't going to get nominated. Sorry. Like, you didn't follow the rules.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that plays out. Raul, go ahead.
Man, I think Dwayne is just about to predict what Nostradamus couldn't predict, man. And I want to see the internet on the day that John Cena gets nominated for Fast 9 for F9. I can't wait to see that, bro.
That's I just picked the most outlandish role I could think getting. I don't think it'll be something like that. But maybe it'll be something that's a little bit more balanced, like Gary
Oldman. Honestly, like if Gary Oldman in any year, let's say a few of these weren't eligible, like Sound of Metal, because it's Amazon or other things like that. This could be a year that like Gary Oldman could take it when he's clearly not the right choice for it.
Yeah. Or you could see something like I haven't seen Nobody yet, but I've heard very good things about it, and we've got John Wick 4 coming out. Like, if that is as good as the first John Wick, we may be looking at Keanu Reeves getting nominated for an Academy Award. Like, the movies, like, say what you will about action movies, like the first John Wick was fantastic. Like, I don't see a reason why that couldn't have been in talks to be nominated for Academy Awards. The movie is amazing. I don't think This is where people start talking about the Academy Awards being a little pretentious. Like, that movie is a great movie. I think the performances in that movie are great. But never in a million years was it probably on anybody's radar to get nominated for an Academy Award because of the pretentiousness of the Academy.
Yes, 100%. I feel like we can move into that a little bit like in decades to come, not necessarily like a John Wick, but when we look at people who are along those same lines, like genre films with Toni Collette, Hereditary, Lupita Nyong'o with Us, that's another example. It's a huge snub, something that should get recognized. And I feel like as they add more Academy voters, especially younger people, and we kind of get the older generation out of there, it's something that we could see like more interesting choices, like something that does really great at the box office. Like I know like obviously Us did good, like Hereditary didn't do as good, but obviously it's an A24 movie. But different things like that getting the recognition rather than like, oh, you know, that actor that you've seen 1,000 times who always does great. Well, they were in this movie, so here, let's just like hand them the nomination. It's the thing to do. I feel like the Oscars will always be a little bit pretentious, but they're hopefully headed in a better direction.
It would go to explain why Jurassic Park 3 was never nominated for Best Picture. I mean, that is just the peak of modern cinema. But we do have a lot of people in the chat. I just want to give them a shout out. I saw Jake Yacovetta earlier, PLD. We've got Ferris. We got Billy making all the puns you could possibly imagine off of some of these movies. And we have Ryan Fernand in the chat. And I think he brings up an interesting point. He says that they will just demand that the best popular movie category, which is something that they've been talking about, trying to create for a few years. Are you guys, I'll ask you just straight up if you're for or against the best popular movie category, and also if you think that it is something that we can expect to see in the coming years. Let's just go Sabrina first and then to Raul and Dwayne.
I think it's something that they could add. I'm not going to say I'm going to like it, but when we do have really great films, obviously like Infinity War was fantastic. We have other things like Black Panther could have easily won best popular movie, and maybe have it be like an animated situation where it could still be nominated for best picture. Obviously some of these, but then you give recognition to other films. I don't see them really doing that anytime soon. Maybe one day, but yeah, it just doesn't seem likely right now.
Yeah. And what about you, Raul?
Yeah, I can see them bringing that thing back. You know, they tried it during, you know, a little bit of a troublesome. You know, they really tried it and then they got backlash, but they're gonna end up bringing it back. I'm against it. I think that, you know, yeah, if you want to give it, like, if you think that this is Best Picture worthy, fuck it, nominate it for Best Picture. Who cares about giving it to the award that's Best Picture B instead of Best Picture A? You know, just, you know, stick with the guns that you're pointing towards. You know.
Yeah, and also like going back to what Dwayne said earlier with like John Wick, I know they were talking about a stunt category, which I think would be incredible because we've seen a lot of really great work in that.
That's
if you're gonna add, if you're gonna add a new category, do something cool like that.
Casting director, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
for sure. Dwayne, what are your thoughts on all this?
I think they're gonna try something like this, and it's a terrible idea, because it's gonna turn the Academy Awards into the Golden Globes, like The Martian, best motion picture, musical or comedy. What?
Hey, I love the musical numbers in The Martian.
Excuse me? Like that's the kind of situation you're gonna get into, as where you get like, you know, like if you're looking at you know, this year's categories, you're gonna be looking at, I don't know, like, hold on, like Judas and the Black Messiah wins Best Picture and Mank gets, you know, Best Popular Movie, and you're like, no, that wasn't like what's gonna win Best Popular Movie is gonna be a lot of people saying like, oh well, this was my second favorite movie nominated in Best Picture, so that's what I'm gonna, and we're gonna see stuff like that where like Mank wins Best Popular Movie and it was like the least popular movie of the year. So I think it's a bad idea. Also, how do you determine like what makes a movie popular? Like that's gonna, yeah, like that's you're gonna get into some gray areas there. Also, it feels to me like they could get into territory of saying like, and I understand what he was trying to say, but kind of again, just doubling down on the pretentiousness of saying like, hey, these movies aren't real movies. Like these ones are kind of just like amusement parks. And it's like, no, they're still real movies. Like they tell a story, they have character development, like the cinematography, the art form is there. You just don't happen to like it. That's like that's not really, that doesn't make them any lesser just because you don't like it. And I think that's going to be, it's just going to send the wrong message about any of those movies that get put into that category.
Yeah,
but they're going to
sure.
do it anyway.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, I also hope not. I'm with all you guys. It's just like a wait and see type thing. And the Golden Globes, they are what they are. But hey, The Martian is a good movie. Okay, I like The Martian a lot.
I wasn't saying it's a bad movie.
I know.
It's a joke that it was nominated.
It's not a comedy.
A musical.
It's
or
funny.
comedy.
It's a funny movie. It's got funny moments in it, but it's not a comedy.
The people, I mean, like studios and people like that, like play around with the categories that it's eligible for as to like what it can get a best chance. It's kind of like Lakeith and Daniel both getting nominated for supporting, because unfortunately Lakeith wouldn't get nominated for best actor because it's way too stacked of a year. They already left incredible performances off.
Yeah, and they know he's not going to win. Like, there's no chance that he's going to win.
But I mean, it's pretty bold because like it can split the vote. I still think Daniel Kaluuya is going to take it. But like if you have two of the same film there, it's like it might split some of the people.
Yeah, but also if I felt initially when I saw that they're co-leads of the movie, maybe they should both be nominated for lead actor instead of supporting actor. But I don't know necessarily.
I don't know. I still think Lakeith would be lead and then Daniel would be supporting. But I don't know.
I mean, I can see it as co-leads, but even if they were co-leads, you put them in best actor, they're still going to lose. They're both going to lose. Like I think we all know who's going to win the best actor category. I think that's one of the few categories that you're like, okay, this one you can just mail them the statue now. Like you might as well.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. I know Sabrina has all the nominations pulled up over here. Do we want to start going through some of the categories? We are talking about best actor. Do we want to just jump into that one?
Yeah. No, we all know.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to read off the nominees?
All right, we got Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Stephen Yen for Minari.
All righty. So let's try to, I don't know. I just want to kind of get everyone's like opinion. If you have an opinion of who maybe you think would win and you want to share it, we could talk about that. And then maybe who we think will ultimately end up winning, or just overall thoughts on the category in general. Do you want to start us off?
I mean, overall, it's underwhelming to see like Gary Oldman. Anthony Hopkins was genuinely incredible. Now that I did check out The Father, I didn't see it when they first announced it. He was incredible and he should be on this list. But again, they're missing Delroy Lindo. It's kind of a shame that Riz Ahmed, Chadwick Boseman, Stephen Yen, and Delroy Lindo gave the performances that they did this year. It's obviously going to go to Chadwick Boseman, but in any other year, I would have loved to see Riz Ahmed or Stephen Yen, either one of them, get this.
Raul, let's go over to you next. What are your overall thoughts on this list of nominees? Does any of these performances really stand out to you as being the best of the year?
I watched The Father today, which was really painful to watch, given my family history. And it's a movie that I don't think I'm ever gonna rewatch. I only watched it because I knew I was gonna be on the show and I wanted to watch all the Best Picture nominees. I do think that Chadwick's gonna win this. I have not watched Ma Rainey's, but that movie is getting so much freaking traction. So I really do think that one's gonna go to Chadwick. But if I will be surprised though if Riz Ahmed takes it, because Riz Ahmed's performance in Sound of Metal is incredible. And I think that I agree with Sabrina. I mean, I hadn't watched Mank until this week, And I agreed with Sabrina. Gary Oldman does not need to be there. Like, that movie, yeah, no. I don't get it.
Gary Oldman's great in everything he's in, but I don't know if he belongs on this list of nominees this year. It's very solid performance, but not I think to a lot of us best of the year quality when there's some other actors that maybe could have been on here instead.
Yeah, he was kind of just miscast also. I just feel like
Yeah.
he shouldn't have been the lead of this film. Like Mank was much younger than Gary Oldman was. It's just like a lot of it didn't really make sense, and I feel like he didn't have enough to work with and sink his teeth into, because of course he's super talented. This just wasn't the role to do it.
It doesn't show a lot of range, that role, you know?
I mean, it is what it is. You know, they're like, oh, screenwriter, Citizen Kane,
Yeah.
Hollywood. We got to give it to Gary Oldman. So,
yeah. Dwayne, let's go over to you next. What are your overall thoughts on this list of nominees?
Gary Oldman is in Delroy Lindo's spot.
yeah. Yep.
For sure. Although as much as I really did like Anthony Hopkins and The Father, either one of them could go for me, honestly, and give up a spot for Delroy Lindo. I think Chadwick is gonna win. I think that's pretty much locked. But if I was voting, I would have voted for Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal. I understand the emotional impact that Chadwick's performance leaves, but I don't think that I think 60% of that is because of his passing and not because of the actual performance in the film. As great as it is, I think that the performance impacts people more just because of his passing, and I'm not willing to change my opinion of Riz Ahmed's performance because of that.
I feel like I do get that, and I feel like this performance would have been put on the map, but I don't know necessarily if it would have been the lock that it is right now. Obviously, just like absolutely sweeping award season, I think he would have been in consideration. People would have talked about this. He might have not even gotten nominated, unfortunately, because Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, again, Netflix did not put the money behind it. That's why it didn't get nominated for Best Picture. So this could have been something that would have been like swept under, unfortunately, like in any other year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we all agree that Delroy Lindo should be on this list for sure. That is the easy like name that comes to mind for us all that's been omitted. We do have Ryan Fernand in the chat saying that Mads Mikkelsen is missing. Is there anybody on this list that you would swap out for Mads Mikkelsen?
Well, Gary Oldman, but I would swap out John Cena in Fast 9 for Gary Oldman. So,
what about Raul Dwayne? Is there anyone that you think Mads Mikkelsen deserves to be on over?
I mean, I'll be honest. I would be perfectly fine with getting rid of Anthony Hopkins and Gary Oldman and replacing them with Mads Mikkelsen and Delroy Lindo. Because here's the other thing that like really frustrated me about seeing both of them nominated is like, how many times have they been nominated? like come on. Like the my favorite thing about this category is the youth in the category. Like that's what I love about this list of nominees is the diversity, and not just in race and ethnicity, but like the fact that it's not all old people like that have been in Hollywood for decades. Like I love the fact that they gave it to some new people. Like we're seeing new people get the shine, and to use a wrestling term, it's time for Anthony Hopkins and Gary Oldman to do the job. They got to lay down and do the job.
They got to take that finger poke of doom, bro.
I think I kind of get the reference, but you've also kind of lost me. But let's I think Yeah, it's definitely an interesting list for sure. I think we've talked some pros, some cons. Let's move on to best supporting actor. And I see you already have the list here, Sabrina.
Am I announcing again?
If you'd
All
like to
right.
read it, I got the microphone in the way.
Actor in a supporting role. We
Ooh.
have Sasha Baron Cohen for Trial of Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. One Night in Miami, Paul Raci Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah.
They should have you present at the Oscars and read the
Hey,
names in the way you just did.
Run me that check. Send it over to me. I'll do it.
Hey.
I mean, this list, I think, again, goes to show with like what Dwayne said earlier about a lot of really interesting performances actually being nominated, a lot of diversity, not just in race, but age. Because like Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, that was awesome to see. Paul Raci is still my number one choice from the beginning. He's my want, and I like if I could make him get this award, I would. But Daniel Kaluuya, I cannot be mad about that at all. This is not a situation like with like Gary Oldman or anything where I think this is just like they're handing them the award. If Sasha Baron Cohen gets it, which I think is definitely possible, as much as I love him, I'm going to be a little upset because there's every other performance on here I think far surpasses Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah. I mean, I liked his performance in Trial of the Chicago 7, but yeah, like, you know, there's probably some better performances out there. We do have Leslie Odom Jr. from One Night in Miami, but as we mentioned, some other actors from that movie might have been unfairly omitted. Raul, let's go over to you. What are your overall thoughts on the nominees in this category?
This is actually one of those categories that I didn't have a big of a problem with. I think this is a really, really good category. And I think that yes, I was on the boat with Sabrina about Raci or Raci. I don't know how to say his name anymore, but he had my favorite from that lineup until I had watched Judas and the Black Messiah and Lakeith Stanfield, man, in that movie. God damn, what a fucking performance. I mean, Lakeith is my favorite actor right now at the moment working. And I think that if he takes it that day, it's going to be awesome. But I have a feeling it's going to go to Daniel Kaluuya. And I won't be mad at that either. Honestly, anybody here except for Sasha taking it, I won't be mad at.
Do you feel that Lakeith and Daniel Kaluuya are they going to take votes away from one another since they're in the same movie? Do you have any concerns about that?
That is a concern of mine. I have a feeling that that's kind of what's going to go down to. But I think that either or winning to me it's fine with me. But it's a concern you get when you have it like that. I know that I doubt. Excuse me. I know that was a concern last year when I doubted that the Lighthouse would ever get nominated for anything with the Academy. But people were talking about that when they were like, "Oh, well, who do you put Willem Dafoe as supporting, or do you put Robert Pattinson as lead?" And then you have them both in the category. You take one from the other. So it's always a concern to have when you have two people from the same movie in the category.
Yeah, definitely. Dwayne, let's go over to you next. What are your overall thoughts on this list of nominees? Are you excited about this list, or was there anyone left off that you were disappointed not to see?
I think this is one of the categories where, in contrast to lead actor, the Academy got it right. Like this, I don't know who else I would add. There's no one that I would really take off the list. I think we all agree that the weakest performance is Sasha Baron Cohen, but I still think his performance. It's arguing, on 9.5 versus a 10. Like that's what we're talking about here. And I don't think that it's going to be as big of an issue having Lakeith and Daniel both nominated in this category, because once again, knowing how Oscar voting works, if everyone puts them 1 and 2, it just depends on who they put as 1 and who they put as 2. Because of the way that the voting system works for the Oscars. Like,
yeah,
if they're both 1 and 2 on everyone's list, it doesn't really split the vote, because one of them is gonna win it. Although I think it's gonna be Daniel Kaluuya. Because I think he's going to be one on pretty much everyone's list. And then there may be a few that have Lakeith 1 and then Daniel 2, but I think that your 1 and 2s on almost everyone's list are going to be Lakeith and Daniel in some order. And then maybe we're looking at Paul and Leslie and 3 and 4 flip-flopped on everyone's list.
I feel like we're all underestimating Sasha Baron Cohen and the Academy's love for freaking Aaron Sorkin. Like, I'm underestimating how many votes that he's probably gonna get, because Trial of Chicago 7 was nominated basically everywhere. I even thought for a second that it might get a Best Director nom. I'm so happy it didn't. But I feel like he could be the upset. Like, Daniel Kaluuya, I think, is going to get it, but I think in voters' minds, Sasha's way higher up than we are giving him credit for.
I mean, he did do a Chicago accent. You would know, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Do I talk like that?
No. Yeah, no, a lot of really good points. I think overall, everyone seems to be pretty happy with this list of nominees, aside from Sacha Baron Cohen. But
he's good. He's all right.
He's
I
good.
just don't want to see him win. But
I don't think any of these nominees were bad in their performances. But were they? Some of them maybe not, worthy of being a nominee. That's for us to debate on this show. But let's move over to lead actress now. And Sabrina, take it away.
All right, actress in a leading role. We have Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand, Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman.
So let's immediately throw it over to you, Sabrina. What are your overall thoughts on this list of nominees? Are you really excited about any of these actresses potentially winning?
I would have loved to see Sydney Flanagan basically not like any of these spots, but like Vanessa Kirby, I think was incredible, but I honestly would have loved to see Sydney Flanagan in this spot. I did not see United States versus Billie Holiday, but I'm not surprised that she is nominated because she won the Golden Globe. She's being talked about in all different corners. This is the biggest toss-up, I feel like, out of all of like the actor categories. This is the one where if you're paying attention to voting prior in the season to this point, it's been split between like Frances, Carey getting a lot of the smaller wins, and then obviously Viola got SAG, Andra got Golden Globes. It's split in all different directions. If I had to pick a personal choice, I feel like they're gonna go Carey Mulligan or Frances McDormand. Frances McDormand would be the safe choice to kind of say. I would personally pick Viola Davis.
Oh, really? And why is that? You haven't really mentioned her up until saying that you think that you'd pick her to win.
I thought this film was incredible. I thought she gave the best performance, the most impactful performance out of all of them. It was just ridiculous, from the hair and makeup to everything that she was doing, just like embodying the character. I really do think she was the best.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I would have picked Sydney Flanagan. If Sydney Flanagan was on this list, she would be my winner.
We see, Raul, you're in agreement, so let's throw it over to you next.
Yeah, Sydney Flanagan's first time ever acting in a movie, and she gives that performance. I mean, that is incredible. I mean, even Talia Ryder should have been in contention for a supporting actress. But we all saw the email that was sent to Eliza Hittman. We all know what happened. We all know that some people in the Academy are stuck in their ways and refuse to watch movies that challenge the thoughts and beliefs that they have. But hey, make everybody else watch Green Book and all the other films that come out that are challenge other people's beliefs. But that's a conversation for another time, right? But I think that this one really is one of those tight races. This one's going to go to anybody, but I have a feeling, and it was a feeling that I got since the moment that film premiered for Pieces of a Woman. Even though I saw what everybody was giving it and what critics were saying, everybody had something to say about Vanessa Kirby in that movie. And I have a feeling that on Sunday we're going to see Vanessa Kirby come out with that. This is going to be that. This is going to be that what's it called, Rachel Zellweger thing, where like everybody wasn't really talking about it, and we were like, yeah, she did incredible, but like there's these other nominees that are way better. And then what happened? Rachel Zellweger took it. And
Renee
I have a
Zellweger.
feeling that Vanessa Kirby's going to win.
No, it's Rachel. It's Rachel now.
Is it Rachel now?
Wait, what's her name?
Renee Zellweger.
Renee?
Renee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fuck if I know, dude.
Look, okay, so
Renee Zellweger.
I think for this one, I'm gonna take. Okay, so I'll just go who I think is going to win first. I just have a feeling in my gut that it's going to be Frances McDormand. I would kind of like for it to be Carey Mulligan, but I think for similar reasons to Sidney Flanagan, that she's not going to get the votes. But I'm going to take the Issa Rae line of thought on this one, and I'm rooting for anybody black. So I'd like to see Viola Davis or Andra Day win this. Like,
Me too, man.
like I'm just rooting for anybody black.
Has anyone seen United States versus Billie Holiday?
Not yet. I think it's on
No,
Amazon
but
Prime, right?
It is, but I've seen, I know the story of Billie Holiday, and just like if they can capture any of that, like any of it, I can guess that it's fantastic.
Damn, I'll watch it tonight. I had no idea it was out already. A lot of these like drops on streaming, I feel like they just like they come out. Like Sound of Metal. I was looking forward to it, and then finally when it came out, I didn't realize it was out for like a whole week and a half.
Yeah. There was also somebody else I forgot to mention that I think is missing from here, who I thought gave an incredible performance as well. Hanye Ri in Minari is I mean, one of the most pensive and beautiful performances you give. I don't think that you can have that great of a film without having Hanye Ri there to be opposite of Steven Yeun in that film. And I think it was a damn shame that she's not nominated for that movie.
Yeah.
Like, she is incredible in that film. And I didn't expect, I was like, I don't even know who this is. I'm going to go in. I'm like, all right. And I came out of there. I was like, that's my favorite performance of that movie. And I love Steven Yeun in that film, but she blew it out of the park for me.
She was incredible. Truly. Yeah. That's like, it really is a stacked year. I would have loved to see her and Sidney Flanagan included on this list.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have more to say about Minari once we get to some of the other categories. But yeah, let's move on to best supporting actress now.
Yes. All right. Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film delivery of Prodigious Bride to American regime for Make Benefit, Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. And also Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. That's the thing. Olivia Colman, The Father, Amanda Seyfried, Mank, and Ya Jung Yoon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, for Minari. Great list, I feel like, besides Glenn Close Hillbilly Elegy. That's like my biggest one.
So that's the only one. I don't even have to throw it to you. That's the only one that you
I just
think
can't believe people saw that and they were like, yeah, that's the shit. Let's nominate her.
I mean,
it's just giving the awards to people who have been great in other films prior in their career. And it's like, that's Glenn Close. We got to give her the nom.
I might be a little biased because it was so fun to hear you say this movie title, but what'd you think of Maria Bakalova?
I loved her. I freaking loved her. Oh my God. She's freaking incredible.
So like, to me, that's what really stands out to me for like kind of make your big breakthrough performance in a movie that is like one of those, like, you're setting up people in public type, films. Well, we just recently watched Bad Trip on Netflix.
Very different. Very from this different, one.
But like, it's just like crazy. Like, we were just like talking about how they really just like go out in public and put people in these like situations, and to have to stay in character to interview Rudy Giuliani and do all that and not break character despite all the crazy crap that went down. That is like, to me, like really stands out as like that takes some acting chops, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, her, Olivia Colman, and Ya Jung Yoon for Minari, I feel like they're my top three. I would be happy to see. Oh my God, sorry.
Was there a fly?
There was a tiny fly and it scared me. I would be happy to see the three, either one of those take this award.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Olivia Colman is great in everything that she does, and might also apparently be in the MCU now. We could talk about that on a different day. The one that I don't really see is Amanda Seyfried. I honestly barely remember her in Mank.
She was the best part of Mank.
Really?
She was the only good part of Mank, basically.
I mean, to be fair, I did see it at the drive-in on my car radio. That was all crackly. And,
Yeah.
But I forgot that she was in the movie until
And the battery
just now.
died.
Yeah. I do
We
remember that.
don't have to talk about that.
So we didn't even, that's the thing. Not only did you hear it on your like crappy
Mhm.
radio, but also your car battery died halfway. So you didn't even see the second half
she
of
was-
the movie.
I bet she was probably in the second half more than she was in the first
I don't know,
half
I
because
think
she
it
was. I don't remember her in the first half all that much. But Raul, let's throw it over to you next. What is your overall impressions on this list of nominees?
I don't remember what was the specific number of takes that came out during like the beginning of the year, but I think if Amanda Seyfried takes it, it should be just for having those like 100+ takes that she had to do of a scene
Mhm.
that Fincher put her through. Jesus Christ. I would love to see Maria take it. Oh God, I would be happy, but my pick is gonna be Yu Jung. Hold on, let me not mispronounce the last name. Yu Jung Yoon. Yeah, she is incredible in that movie, and she's been getting a lot of love in the past awards that have been having her in there. So I think it's gonna go, but I think we all should prepare for the worst because not Olivia. I'm sorry. Glenn Close, she lost the award to Olivia Colman for The Favorite, and everybody that year literally thought that Glenn Close was going to take it for The Bride. I think it was the film,
Yeah.
and she didn't take it. I have a feeling that we need to start preparing ourselves for the worst out here, and the fact that Glenn Close might just take it. Like I'm telling y'all need to keep an eye on these outliers. Like you never know with the Academy.
You think it's kind of be like a legacy award type thing, like, oh, you didn't get this other one that you should have won, or that like some people think
But
you should have won.
this movie,
And
if
you're
this
always
is
in the
the movie
discussion.
that they choose to give it to her for, then no,
No.
absolutely not.
I don't know, Dwayne. I see you shaking your head. Let's throw it over to you next. What are your thoughts on this topic?
They probably thinks I'm smoking crack or something.
No, I actually think you're on the right track. I have a sneaking suspicion that Glenn Close is gonna win. It's not my pick. My pick would be Maria Bakalova. I think that similar to what we were saying earlier about genre films just not getting the recognition that they deserve from the Academy, to see a comedic performance get nominated, I think, and honestly, out of all of these, my favorite performance to watch get nominated. Like I really, really, really hope that she wins. Close, unfortunately.
No.
I just want to see her win. I want to see Maria win and just thank Rudy Giuliani. That's all I want.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page here on who we want to win and who we don't want to
You
win.
guys curse this. If Glenn Close
Yeah.
wins, I'm blaming you too.
I'm
I
gonna
know
have
you
to
guys are paying
shut down
attention to
my
more
channel.
stuff, but oh my God. I didn't even
That's
think
it.
about it because I was just so like,
Yeah.
the second she was nominated, I was like, nah.
Just wait until you
I
hear it.
I mean, I agree. That movie is like it's like fried mayonnaise. Like it's just so
It's like
It's-
greasy. The second you click on it on Netflix,
yeah.
your remote gets all sticky
Wait,
and
can
stuff.
you
It's just like,
fry mayonnaise? Is that a
You
thing?
can, yeah, it is, and it's
You can?
of
the
course you would
movie-
be asking that.
it's also like incredibly boring. Like the movie's so
Yeah.
boring. but it's Oscar bait. Like it's what it is.
It's 100%.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hope this show is not cursed, but we'll just have to wait and see. I want to make sure we hit all of the main categories. Is there any specific categories you guys want to hit next that you want to discuss?
We could go directing.
Directing?
Real quick, animated, because I
Animated.
don't
Yeah.
think Soul should win. Wolf Walker should win.
Yeah, that's the next one I gotta watch.
Period. Wolf,
haven't seen it yet.
Wolfwalker should win hands down, like hands down.
I feel like Soul's the best movie that Pixar's put out in like a very like since Coco.
That may be.
I still have to
Wolfwalkers
see.
is
I still
better.
have to see
Wolfwalkers,
Wolfwalkers though.
Yeah,
Wolfwalkers is so good. It is so
Right.
good. And I think a lot of people are going to be off put by the animation style, but like it's similar to like they were, I think, with Klaus. Like a lot of people were off put by the animation style, but it's like stop being like a snob. Season your animation. Like it doesn't all have to look like Disney or Pixar. Like that's one of the most beautiful things about the medium is how different it could be.
Mhm.
And Wolfwalkers is so good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna win. I think Soul's gonna win, but like it should. 100% it should.
Yeah, before Sunday, I gotta watch Wolfwalkers. That looks really good, and everybody's giving it a lot of love. That's one that I'm looking closely at that I really want to watch right now.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I think Soul is the only animated movie I saw this year. So I really enjoyed it. But
We'll watch Wolfwalkers.
yeah, we'll watch
it.
Wolfwalkers. We'll get back
If
to you guys.
If you look in the right direction at a certain ocean, you will find Wolfwalkers. I'll just tell you that. And that's speaking in code to y'all.
I'll let you know. I got it.
All righty. Well, let's unless there's any other categories that you guys think you want to talk about first, let's move on to directing.
Cinematography.
Oh,
Cinematography. Yeah.
I skip it.
Directors
I
will
don't
have to wait.
I think that one's going to Nomadland. That's going to Nomadland.
It is, but I hate there's no interesting cinematography on this list. None. There's zero.
What? Your News of the World, the most best cinematography of the past year?
Trial of the Chicago 7. They just set up a camera in a courtroom.
Man, if Mank, like guys, we're talking about ones that are gonna make us mad, dude. If Mank wins cinematography, I'm going to absolutely lose it, dude. That movie was like, there's nothing special cinematography wise. Like the lighting setups are literally, there's nothing special to that, dude.
So here's the thing that I would give it to Mank if they had shot Mank in color.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like similar to like they did with WandaVision and the first 2 episodes of that were shot in color. So they had to light it, and the colors that people had to wear had to translate to black and white.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do that with Mank.
No.
So it's like all of the like skill behind it isn't there. So it's like if Mank is probably gonna win, and I'm
You guys, Mank is probably.
Oh,
Yo, what if News of the World takes it? What if it's on none of our radars? They're like cinematography.
I didn't even know News of the World existed until it got nominated.
the same.
I mean, it should not be on this list, like 100%. But again, it's that money, baby. It's everything they give you, all of like the buttering up and stuff like that. Yeah, I would go Nomadland for this one, but also Judas and the Black Messiah, I think, had great cinematography throughout.
Yeah, nothing really stands out to me as like super tremendous cinematography. But I also haven't seen every single movie on this list. But yeah, I feel like something like Trial of the Chicago 7, like you could have given that to any cinematographer, they would have done the exact same thing.
I'm ready for the disappointment that's going to come with that category.
Yeah.
I've already been preparing myself for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like drinking some champagne or something like that, just trying to drown.
Yeah.
Hey, we could get some interesting wins. It could be like last year. I kept talking. I was like, they're not cool enough to give Parasite Best Picture, and then they did, and that was like a beautiful, beautiful surprise. So if they go like interesting directions in each of these categories, like who knows? Hopefully, Glenn Close doesn't take home that trophy. But yeah.
So let's
now
move.
we can talk directors.
Yeah, let's finally the directors finally have their time in the spotlight. They've been waiting for so long. Let's go down this list.
Directing another round: Thomas Vinterberg, Mank, David Fincher, Minari, Lee Isaac Chung, Nomadland, Chloe Zhao, Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell.
Alrighty. So Sabrina, going down that list, what are your overall thoughts? Any names stand out to you? Should be there, shouldn't be there, names that might be missing?
I know Raul's not going to agree with me on this. I
Oh.
love the fact that Thomas Vinterberg is on this list. I think that's interesting. It bodes well for his chance to win, obviously, Best International Feature. So I think I'm happy to see him on this list. I think that means that category is a lock for him. But for this one, I mean, the easy ones, like obviously David Fincher, stuff like that. I'm just happy to see Minari on this list. That's what I want to be the winner, but I think Nomadland's going to take it. Nomadland and Minari, in my mind, are like neck and neck in terms of quality. They're both incredible films. It's impossible to put them against each other. But if I had to go with one for this one, I would choose Minari. Nomadland is 100% taking it.
All right. Raul, I know you're just dying to tell Sabrina she's wrong about something she just.
No, I mean, I'm gonna be real honest. Thomas Vinterberg is standing in the space that should have been given either to Darius Martyr or Regina King for One Night in Miami. And look, my thoughts on another round. I'll talk about that when we get to the international feature. But like that, no. But I think that this one's going to Chloe Zhao. Chloe Zhao. This is her award. They've been predicting this for a while, and I think that this one is the only one that I can say that is a lock in, because I think that I wasn't the biggest fan of Nomadland, but I think what I was the biggest fan of was Chloe Zhao's direction, and I think this is her award, and I think they should just already mail that Oscar to her because this is her award to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dwayne, let's go over to you next. Are you in agreement with what Raul said, or do you have a differing opinion?
I've got a somewhat differing opinion. If I was gonna take a name off this list to replace with Regina King, who is the director that I think is missing, sadly, I think I would.
David Fincher.
I think I would say Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, I
I really like Promising Young Woman. The one thing that I didn't like was some of the direction. And I mean, it's the first feature, so like it's to be expected. Like no movie is perfect, no matter how great it is. No movie is perfect. And I think that would be the one that I would take off. I think Chloe is a lock. I think we're all in agreement on that one. That similar to the lead actor, just go ahead and mail the statue. Like you already know where it's going. And before anyone tries to crucify me, I think Emerald should win screenplay. Like I think that it is hands down the best original screenplay this year. I really, really love Promising Young Woman. I just didn't like some of the directorial choices that were made in the movie. Yeah, I mean, I think that's. Although David Fincher could go too, like. I mean, let's just.
Guys, I was nervous for a while that he could possibly win because he's never won an Oscar before. This is like that type of Oscar baity movie out of all of his.
This one ain't
films,
the one to win.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. But I got nervous. But it's Chloe.
That's
Zhao.
what makes me nervous. So it's not the one to win on. So he's gonna win on it.
If there were, I think if Minari and Nomadland weren't in this list, we would be looking at David Fincher winning.
Mm-hmm.
But because there are two clear choices above him, he's not going to win this one.
Hey, I'm just happy Sorkin's not nominated. Imagine if they didn't have like Emerald Fennell or whatever, and they put Sorkin. Like,
ooh, jeez.
Yeah. But
I'm just glad that Nolan's
on this list.
Yeah, I'm just glad that Nolan's not nominated just to lose it again. You know, it's become a running joke that Nolan just gets nominated to lose it.
I mean, I personally think he should have won for The Dark Knight Rises, but who am I to say?
Me too, man. Me too.
I mean, I want to know when he's going to get tired of making the same movie over and over again.
Well, let's get Nolan on Brandon Hanna live next week.
Let's get Christopher Nolan. He gets mentioned a lot on this channel somehow. Christopher Nolan, if you want to pop on the show and, tell us why we're stupid or something,
Damn, I've been talking crap about him basically this entire past year, so I don't know about that. I won't be on.
Hey, I really, really love The Prestige. We could talk about that, and then I can lure you in, and then we can talk about all the stuff that we don't like. Or not. We cannot do that. But what's our next category that you think we should discuss? Any takers, Raul, Dwayne?
Well, you do international feature because the next three categories, our next two categories, I haven't seen any of the movies.
I haven't seen any international feature except for Another Round. So I think, like I said earlier, for me, this one's a lock for Another Round because Thomas Vinterberg was nominated. But I know, Raul, this is all you.
Yeah, this is your category, Raul.
I do want to say, please go watch The Mole Agent on it's on Hulu now. Incredible Chilean film. It's going to be a little bit tough because it's, and I know that Dwayne and I, we both have family members with dementia and Alzheimer's. It's really painful, but it's a really interesting sort of like narrative documentary film. And it was really good. And I really hope you all go and check it out. So please go check that one out. I just watched this film today, Kuvadis Aida. It's about the Bosnian War and the lead up into the Srebrenica genocide. This one should take it. This one, it's incredible how much we build the tension to get to that climax, and we see the events of the Srebrenica genocide. That honestly, I wasn't a big fan of Another Round. I'm sorry. You see my faces throughout the whole show. I think that Another Round was just I didn't really think it was all that great. I thought that it was an interesting story and you had some pretty good but an interesting couple of
do you think it was a pretentious do you think it was a pretentious foreign film?
No, I just think it wasn't that interesting, like Kuvadis Aida or what's it called? I watched Collective. Come on, man. Like there is something that's missing from here. There is a lot of Latin America and African films that are missing from here. Like everybody throughout this awards race was giving Night of Kings a lot of praise, and that was I believe was Nigeria's entry this year. And they did a lot of they were saying about it, and I really thought that one was going to get it, and it made the short list, and it didn't go. Same could be Sever Peru. Peru's Song Without a Name is an incredible film led by an indigenous woman. Was an incredible movie. But once again, I always kind of say the same thing, that the Academy doesn't know how to nominate Latin American directors who aren't the three amigos of cinema, Del Toro, Cuarón, and Iñárritu. And, same could be said for I'm No Longer Here, which was incredible as well. And that's obviously missing from this list. But if it should go from anybody in this category, Kuvadis Aida, incredible film that deals with some of the most brutal history and the first genocide since World War II. So I that's my pick.
I see we have Ryan Fernand in the chat saying the happy ending, I guess some slight spoilers of Another Round, is going to give it the edge over the downer of an ending. Kuvadis Aida?
Kuvadis Aida, yeah.
Kuvadis Aida.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fast,
no, that happy. Man, fuck. I'm sorry, man. Fuck Another Round. Fuck Another Round. There's a bunch of other better movies than Another Round that came out last year.
Damn, I really liked Another Round. Like I think it was in like my top 20 or something, but I mean I liked it.
If it wasn't for what's it called, for Mank stinking so hard, I would have put Another Round below the nominees there. But
wow.
Mank got that beautiful 3 out of 5 for me.
All right, well, 3 out of 5. That's a solid 6. That's fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's whatever.
If I had to pick, I would pick Better Days. I really liked that movie.
I still haven't watched it, man.
I really liked it, but I mean, I'm also like kind of partial to like Hong Kong cinema as a whole, so that's kind of it's for me. But I think that any of the movies in this category are good choices. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them.
Yeah, great. So what is next? What do we want to talk about?
I mean, Best Picture, I feel like is the place to go for this
You want to
one.
go Best Picture? You want to go for the big one?
We're going for the big boy.
Big one. All right.
Best Picture, we got The Father. I am not going to list out all these names. I'm just going to list out the movies. So, The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and best movie of the year, Trial of Chicago 7.
Trial of the Chicago 7.
Okay.
That was really bad. So Sabrina, let's start off with you first.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts on do you think that anything could be added to this list? Any movies could be taken away? What in your mind, what is the best picture of 2020?
Personally, I would go with something like Minari or Sound of Metal, but I do understand. I love Nomadland, so I do understand the fact that that's probably going to win. But in terms of the nominations, obviously, I would take off Mank, I would take off Trial of Chicago 7, and I would add The Five Bloods and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Again, it goes to show with the situation with Chadwick Boseman's Best Actor nomination, because Netflix did not back this film enough. Just like Viola and Chadwick got their recognition, but I thought there was a lot more, especially in terms of it being nominated for Best Picture, because it was. I would love to see One Night in Miami, that also on the list. So basically take off a few, add a few. You got slots to fill anyways. Obviously, I know that's not the way that it works, but I would have liked to see those get the recognition. But I think Nomadland's going to take it. If Trial of Chicago 7 wins, I would not put it past with like a whole like Green Book situation, because Trial of Chicago 7 is the encapsulation of that, like, oh, this is woke. Like, look, like we're doing something. We're nominating an interesting story that's like woke and about important issues. So like, look at that. Even though that's so surface level of what we get with something like Minari, which is an American story. Like, it's literally a story like an idea of the American dream. I thought that is something that's perfect. If we're going to celebrate one film this year, Minari would be that one to me.
Yeah, I really agree with that sentiment. It really irks me when people say that like something is like woke or SJW
I like
or
Trial
whatever.
Chicago 7 fine.
You know?
Like, it's okay. I mean, Steve McQueen with Mangrove did it 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
He did like the same type of courtroom drama, but so much better.
Yeah, but like something like Minari in particular, like oh, people like they see, you know, like there are people out there that see like a woman in a lead or a person of a color in a lead of a movie, or like a story about people of color or whatever, what have you, and they say it's like Hollywood pushing some kind of like agenda of like what agenda of what, like equality, fair representation in film. So for those reasons, I can get on a huge soapbox like with this, and I'm sure like we could all be on there together. But like for me, I would love to see something like Minari win. Raul, let's go over to you next. What are your thoughts on this list? What's missing? What should get the hell off of there? What should win? What do you think is gonna win? I want to know your
Mank
thoughts.
needs to get the hell out of there. Mank, bro. Mank. Mank, the Trial of Chicago 7. I mean, you know, you had a lot of other great movies come out. Obviously, you know, I think this one, look, man, this one should go to Minari. But I've been preparing myself for this, and I'm gonna say it here. Trial of Chicago 7 is gonna win.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We need to prepare ourselves. The Academy does not do the right thing 2 years in a row. And I have a feeling that they're going to pick the safest choice, and they're going to go with Trial of Chicago 7. You're going to wow me if Nomadland takes it. But if Chloe wins for director, I highly doubt that Nomadland takes it for Best Picture. So I have a feeling that on Sunday night, we're going to see Trial of Chicago 7 win. And I've been preparing myself for that.
This feels like Green Book to me all over again.
It's like, it's better than that, but not by much. Like, it's better than Green Book.
I mean, I liked the movie, but when you put it compared to everything else on this list, aside from Mank, I just don't see it.
Even like The Father. Like, I like The Father a lot. I'd rather have that win. I know there's no chance of that happening, but like, genuinely, Any of the other nominations I would be happy with. I still think it's gonna go to Nomadland. I don't expect it to go to Trial of Chicago 7. I have too much faith in the Academy every single year. I didn't have enough faith last year, and they ended up giving Parasite the award. But this year, I don't know. There's too many good films to give Trial of Chicago 7 the most prestigious award. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, I agree 100%. I wouldn't be shocked.
Dwayne, tell us not to lose hope. Tell us that we're wrong. What are your thoughts?
I think Nomadland will probably take it. If it was up to if it was my vote, I would give it to Sound of Metal. Mainly because the Sound of Metal did something that I don't think any other film has really been able to do, and like the way the world closes in on you as the movie progresses, and you can you feel that you are also losing your hearing, like that. It's crazy the way they were able to do that so effectively. I think that Sound of Metal should win. But I would not be surprised if, once again, the story of people of color in this country told through the lens of white folks wins. Like, it's like, if there's ever a movie that is designed to make white people feel better about their role in the violence against people of color in this country, it's a pretty safe bet that that's going to win. Just because of who the voters in the Academy are. Like they see it as, hey, we've lifted up this story of people of color in America, but in reality, all they've done is lift up more white folks. So I would not be surprised if the Trial of the Chicago 7 wins at all. I'm sorry, I can't be more optimistic here. But it's got all the right pieces to green book this. Unfortunately.
It is a bit of a bummer, but I mean, that was very well said, Dwayne. That was much better than anything I was trying to say when I normally stick my foot in my mouth on this show. But that's why I bring experts like you and Raul and Sabrina in to make me look a little bit better. But yeah, I think we'll hope for the best. Hopefully we're all proven wrong in some of our more pessimistic outlooks on some of these nominees. I see Sabrina's not convinced, but
I don't know. You never know. The thing is, we never know. Freaking know, because I don't have a lot of faith. The nominations are great. I think most of these, they did a really great job recognizing some of the best, but obviously the winner, you never know with a lot of these.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, are there any other categories, nominees, Oscar topics in general that we haven't hit yet that Raul, Dwayne, Sabrina, you guys want to chime in on? Or I'll just leave the open floor, but not too long, because dead air is not good radio.
Borat subsequent movie film for best adapted screenplay.
I would have loved to see I'm Thinking of Anything's get nominated there. I will say, I don't think it would have been nominated above any of these, but
that movie I fell asleep in. Please.
Another movie that you watched half of and didn't watch the rest of.
I did.
Yes.
I did fall asleep. That is true.
You can't blame it on the battery.
It wasn't because the movie was bad. I was just genuinely exhausted.
Yeah, whatever. But Borat.
I liked what I saw.
I feel like One Night in Miami for adapted screenplay as well. I would really love to see One Night in Miami get that award, especially because they didn't get the nominations in a lot of places that were deserving. I think this is perfect. Kemp Powers obviously was just announced that he's doing Spider-Verse 2. Yeah. So he's doing that one. Obviously,
great animation style.
He had a hand in Soul, co-directing and co-writing that. I think this was an incredible year for him. He's going to have a bunch of amazing stuff going forward. Give him the award. One Night in Miami.
All righty. Dwayne, what about you? Anything else? What's on your mind? Tell us.
I would like to see Emerald Fennell win original screenplay for Promising Young Woman.
You know it's Will Sorkin.
Yeah, but I think that it's gonna. Yeah, I think Aaron Sorkin is gonna continue to hold his grip on that category.
Has Sorkin ever won it? Like,
no, but any TV show that he wrote, he won like every Emmy for writing. It's like there's a reason. Like when you think of like screenwriters, he's like one of the first names that pops up in people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's that's.
I think
let's hope for
Sorkin
better.
sweep. I want him to sweep this entire
Don't
Academy
put that
Awards.
out there. You're not supposed to manifest bad things.
I was kidding.
Yeah. Like I really do think that Promising Young Woman was like of the nominees, I think it was the best original screenplay. Because it really was something that was new and like shook up the revenge like story tropes.
Yeah, I think if you give anything to Promising Young Woman this race, I think it is for the writing. I think the writing is the thing that you will award the most. I just researched it, and he won for Social Network. So maybe that gives me some sort of hope that Sorkin won't take it. But then again, the Academy is the Academy, and they can give it to Sorkin. They can probably give it to Sorkin if they wanted to.
I also really would have loved to see Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Again, is a lot of the reasons Raul said earlier, Oscar voters, it's kind of what I talked about. Like the old people, they put their own personal bias and ideas like into all of this. And a lot of them just decided to not watch the film and even email Eliza Hittman, which is disgusting, but whatever. I would have loved to see it be nominated. Obviously, it was nominated for Independent Spirit Awards, which again, that's kind of the award show that I care about the most. That's the one that usually aligns the most with my taste. So I'm excited for that one.
That's the one where you saw Adam Sandler give that great speech.
Yeah. Like everybody had to say they lost to Adam Sandler.
Yeah, so I mean, there you have it, guys. That is our like overall thoughts and opinions and predictions on this year's Academy Awards, and hopefully we're just as pleasantly surprised this year as we were by Parasite last year. I think that's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah, I hope the right films get the recognition.
Yeah, exactly. Hoping the right films get the recognition. Hoping the wrong films don't. And Raul's face says it all. So thank you so much to Sabrina, Raul, and Dwayne for joining me here today for another episode of Brandon Hanna Live, talking the Oscars, making me look really good with how smart and educated and prepared they were for today's show. It really means a lot for you guys to come on and spend this hour and a half with me. I really appreciate it. Sabrina, let's go over to you first. We'll go back around. Where can the good people find you online? Promote whatever you need to promote, do what you got to do.
You could follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SabrinaXMonica, also on Twitter at Sabrina on Film, various shows, First Cut YouTube channel, Meaning of Podcast, different things like that. Patreon.com/Sabrina on Film. I'm also going to be doing a public live watch along of the Oscars, which I'm very excited about because I don't do a lot of like public videos on my channel. This is going to be my second one ever. First one was a beer pong tournament that Dwayne was a part of. Brandon was a part of. That was a lot of fun. So this is gonna be the second one. I'm very excited for that. So that's obviously gonna be happening this Sunday.
Yeah, and that featured Alex Marzonia making a shot without even looking. So just imagine what crazy things gonna happen on this stream, guys. You don't want to miss it. Raul, where can the good people find you online if they want to support your endeavors?
The Nerd Chicano on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Twitch.tv/Nerd Chicano. On YouTube as my name, Raul Alejandro Mendoza, and I'm also on the Nerdcore on the Nerdcore live show this weekend because this week our host is out, so a lot of our stuff is not being done until later in the weekend. And on Wednesday for the Nerd Chicano Live on my YouTube channel and on my Twitch.
All right, guys, go support Sabrina, go support Raul, and also let's also support Dwayne Burke. Dwayne, if people want to see the stuff that you have made, where can they find you?
You can find me anywhere and everywhere on the internet at Burke Made. Find me on Twitch, normally on Mondays and Saturdays right now. But my stream that I normally would do tonight, I'm going to be doing tomorrow night for 420, and all the proceeds from that stream are going to be going to the Last Prisoner Project, which is its charity that is helping with drug policy reform and trying to get people who are incarcerated for cannabis related offenses, get them released and their records expunged, which I think is a very important thing as we see more and more legal cannabis across the United States. We need to right the wrongs for all the people who have been held back by things like that. My YouTube channel on Wednesdays for technical difficulties. This week, I'm coming back, and I'm going to be showing people how to combine StreamYard with OBS, so you can use all of the things that you love about StreamYard in OBS to have total control over what your viewers see. And then Fridays for Desertman Live, Saturdays, the third Saturday every month right now for Saturdays are for anime. We just had an episode this past weekend where we talked about Jujutsu Kaisen. And last but not least, every Tuesday on Twitch, twitch.tv/theshmowdown, the FCL, we are doing big things. We are better than the big show. We are the latest and the greatest in movie trivia. Come check it out.
We're all proud
right.
students. We're all proud students of the Dwayne Burke School of Broadcast out here.
Yeah, guys, go support Dwayne and all of his endeavors. I'm in the Schmodown myself, so I don't know if I can endorse the FCL's statements here, but go support the FCL, and of course everything Dwayne is doing. He does a lot of great charity streams like the one that he just mentioned over on his Twitch channel. So go support a great person who tries to do as much as he can for everybody else. And I did hear rumors that you can combine StreamYard and OBS, but I have no idea how it's done. So I will definitely be tuning in for that show as well. I'm, of course, Brandon Hanna. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon Hanna07. If you're watching right now, you've already found me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Brandon Hanna. Please hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Hit the like button on this video if you haven't done so already. And thank you to everyone joining in the live chat. We had Jake Yakuveta, PLD, Billy P, we had Ferris, we had Ryan Fernand. I saw Will McLean in there for a brief moment. Aiden Cossack here at the end, along with Pardis. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but if I did, I apologize. But thank you so much for watching along with us, joining in on the conversation. If you're watching after the fact, you can still be part of the conversation. Leave a comment down below, and I would love to talk to you about your Oscar predictions as well. And of course, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Brandon Hanna. If you guys feel like generously supporting me over there, it means the absolute world and goes a long way for me supporting, my endeavors, doing the stuff on the internets right now, as you can see. I also do a show called The Periodic Table every week where we talk about science news. Like I mentioned, Dwayne's been on the show. I know Raul is dying to get on the show to talk about some science with me.
Nightmare. It's my greatest nightmare to be on this show.
Hey, the show is made for you, Raul, because the host learn along with the audience. It's one big virtual science classroom.
I literally went into office hours today to ask if a cross section was curved because of the shape of the Earth being a sphere. Okay. I don't know what I can bring to the table when it comes to science. And I was right on the question, by the way. It was the answer to that question. But I still feel like a dumbass asking that.
No. See, that is the great thing about science. Ask all the questions in the world because that's what it is all about. You're perfect for the show. We will have you on sometime. No need to be nervous, Raul. It's going to be great to have you. But until then, I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to say thank you for taking time out of your day for this movie moment.